Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Billy Joe Saunders continues to put pressure on himself when it comes to facing Gennady Golovkin next. He's showing a lot of eagerness to get in the ring with Golovkin. He even went so far as to say, if I don't fight Golovkin next, I am a shitbag. This is exactly what Billy Joe Saunders said. I'm quoting. He said this to IFL TV. I'll put the link in the description box. It was a long interview that he did with IFL TV. And, you know, this just thickens the plot, right? There's no doubt about it. You put that kind of pressure on yourself, you have no choice but to take the fight. Now, where the conversation got a little conflicting is when Billy Joe Saunders, he did start saying, you know, I just got to make sure I get the right money. I'm not going in there for crumbs. It's so sad because normally when you hear a fighter say that, usually that means they're going to try to outprice themselves. But he specifically said in this interview, he's not trying to outprice himself. So we're going to find out how bad BJ Saunders really wants that fight. But he may have to wait until after the Danny Jacobs fight because according to the WBA, they've ordered Golovkin versus Danny Jacobs next, considering the fact that Danny Jacobs is the regular WBA champion. So that fight should be next. And that one right there, I personally would prefer over the BJ Saunders fight. It'll be out here in America. You have a fighter from Brooklyn, New York. The fight would be in New York. That would be a huge event out here in the States. Now, Golovkin versus BJ Saunders, that's a good fight too, but I truly believe that Golovkin versus Danny Jacobs would be a lot more attractive. And with the type of styles that they have, Danny Jacobs, to me, Danny Jacobs, he has probably the same type of power, if not very close. I mean, if you compare Danny Jacobs to the other power punchers that Golovkin faced, like Curtis Stevens and David Lemieux, you'll notice those power punchers, they were shorter than Golovkin. When it comes to David Lemieux, he had a terrible defense, very one-dimensional, and he was gun-shy. He didn't want to let his hands go in the fight. Now, when it comes to Curtis Stevens, like Danny Jacobs, Curtis Stevens has already been knocked out before. But looking at his style, he has more of a short stature. He has a really good left hook, but that's really his best weapon. So with him being shorter and really only having that left hook, that is the distinction when you're talking about Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs is not shorter than Gennady Golovkin. In fact, Jacobs, he may be taller than Gennady Golovkin. I believe Danny Jacobs, he knows how to work on the inside and on the outside, has great power, great defense, and great boxing athleticism. So we're going to soon find out if Golovkin takes the fight or if Danny Jacobs takes the fight. Something else I wanted to say about BJ Saunders, he said something else that was pretty interesting. He said, if I'm not ready to beat or fight Golovkin now, I'll never be ready. So once again, he's putting more pressure on himself to take this fight because you cannot make an excuse why the fight didn't happen after making all of these excuses, right? So that's pretty much all I got, guys. I'm on to the next one.